is, yeah. You know, I had the really beautiful privilege of traveling North America and a lot of the world and sitting down with Indigenous people from all over. You know, when Uncle Phil and I were in Panama, we stayed with some Indigenous people up in the jungle. 170 of them were injured. Some had their eyes scooped out. 10 were murdered, or 17 were murdered. And that's doing the same work that I do. When we presented in Brazil, one of the brothers said that I'm risking my life for doing what I'm doing. I got home 2 days later. They called me and they said he was murdered with his friend. But this is what industry does. But that's happening also here in Canada. Alberta tar sands is one of the biggest industrial projects in the world. We know this. It takes 2 tons of earth to get 1 barrel. It takes 3.5 barrels of water to get 1 barrel, and they're getting 2 million barrels a day. And in that process, I was at the Alberta tar sands with some of my family that are here today. We witnessed 2 years ago when Joel James gave a totem pole to the Beaver Lake Cree who are standing up to fight for those tar sands. And a lady showed me, and it was brutal, and she asked me to share her story, and she asked if we could stop that destruction that's happening and the death that's happening to the people. She rolled up her sleeve to her elbow, and there was blisters all over, and she said, this is how cancer starts. Her 2 children were in the hospital getting treated for cancer. He said her community's dying, the water's dying. I was holding a glass of water, and she said that's the only way we could drink is it coming from a container, or bathe ourselves when it's coming from a container. The doctor said we can't bath our kids for more than 2 minutes at a time, or the kids will start getting sick, and that's what's happening. So the destruction that we see in other countries where they come out and murder them, that's what's happening right now. We have this joke of this government panel that's trying to consult First Nations. Having a 40-minute discussion with First Nations is not consultation. But what I see right across Turtle Island, when I was in Haida Gwaii, the beautiful hosts and the beautiful work that they did to stand against Enbridge, with the Yinka Dene to stand against Enbridge, all the nations along the Kinder Morgan pipeline standing against Kinder Morgan. What I see down in South Dakota, where the Cowboy and Indian Alliance, the new CIA, what I seen with them stopping Keystone was important. Now this pipeline's going to the Energy East people. What's happening is the Indigenous people are uniting.
We are all part of the tapestry that is being woven before us. Each one of you is a string in a tapestry. It's up to you to decide on where you're going to fit in. Saying, I want to be accountable. I want to fit into the tapestry of life. And we now are emerging stronger than we have ever been in our histories. Because you know, as parents, grandparents, or young people, when you look forward to your children, we want our younger generations to go further than us. We want them to go further than us, and all our ancestors prayed that way. And that's why we're rising up now, everywhere in Mother Earth, together as one human family. We're awaking to the reality of the oneness of life, that the hurt of one is the hurt of all. What is happening at Standing Rock is happening here. What is happening here with Kinder Morgan is happening in Manitoba. It's happening everywhere on Mother Earth. And Mitakiyepi, with all due respect to these crumbling institutions that call themselves governments. Yeah. All respect, by the way, to the Vancouver City Council. But I would say this, we must hold these governments responsible for what they have to say, but we also have to recognize it's we the people that are going to make the change. Together. You know, I want to just say a few more words here. I think it's really important we remember that everyone here, we all sat at one time before the sacred fire of life. We all did. Our teacher for every one of us was our beloved Mother Earth, everywhere.
And we know from our ancient teachings of the oneness of all life, that everything is interrelated. Therefore, every one of us are indigenous people to Mother Earth, and every one of us is responsible for protecting the sacred, protecting the future generations. All of us. All of us.
We don't care what happens to the Navajo. We don't care what happens to the Hopi. And nobody heard them. And so now they got cancer. Now their land's polluted. Now their water's polluted. You know, and what happens to them is going to happen to us. It's coming down the Fraser River to you. Yeah. The silver mine. That silver mine literally peeled the skin off the salmon in the river. Yeah. Now we already forgot it. We're looking for the next crisis to respond to. We can't forget that. It's about government and regulations. It's about responsibility and leadership. So the next one is not a wolf, but it's a bear. We got to have the endurance of a bear, the strength. We can't give up. We can't get tired. And then we have the 4 sacred buffalo as our elder, Phil Lane, one for each direction.
Yes, him.
The sacred buffalo. And then we have a warrior on the right following the peyote trail, and a pipe carrier on the left. And the symbols of the Native American church, which is 10,000 years old, minimum, is carved on there. We're bringing it from Vancouver to Seattle to Longview. We're going to stop at Celilo Falls for prayers at that little village. And then we're supposed to go to Yakima and Spokane. But those leaders have headed to Standing Rock. So we're going to go to Standing Rock with them. We're going to go up to Sandpoint, Idaho. That's where all the trains are going through. That's where all the equipment's passing through. And they're saying, no, you can't pass. And we're going to go up there and support them. The people, the Salish, and the Nez-Perce, and the Spokane. Then we're going to Missoula. You know, because out of Montana, Zinke's on the House Natural Resources Committee. And he'd like to just wipe out our treaties. He'd like to do everything he can to eliminate our ability to stop these type of polluting corporations from implementing their plans. And so we want him held accountable. Then we're going to go to Billings. Then we're heading back to Bismarck. But we hope that everybody working together, paying attention, will have a united voice telling North Dakota, the governor, you can't do that. You're violating human rights. It's not decent for you to take away their water, to cut off their sewer. Right. Next will be food. Right. He's trying to provoke a riot. He's trying to make people mad. He's trying to be an instigator. When these people are praying, they got elders, grandmas there, and babies there. They don't want riots, they want prayers for the earth. They want to protect their territory. And so we're going there to join with them. And then we head to Winnipeg. You know, it has the biggest concentrations of First Nation people in Winnipeg. And we're going there to encourage them. The East Pipeline is going through there. Help us stop it. You know, they stopped the president vetoed Keystone. All right, and we're all happy. The president stood up in February and said no Keystone Pipeline. So that's a victory, and that's the type of victory you want to see happen on the east.
Your grandmother asked me, she said, Taco, she said, what is the most sacred ceremony of all ceremonies? I've been recounting all these different ceremonies I went to. She listened. She said, those are all beautiful ceremonies. Taco, she said, but the most sacred, the most holy of all ceremonies is the birth of a child.
Yes.
Then she looked me deep in the eyes and said, then who are you? Who are you? We are sacred beings. Each of us is a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting. And the foundation of this new world that's unfolding, this new world civilization, is based in the one understanding of the oneness of the human family in unity and diversity. With that, Mikapiaki, comes this understanding. If we are one human family in unity and diversity, any prejudice whatsoever, any form of prejudice must be eliminated forever. Anything that has better than, less than another human being has to be eliminated. All of it. And so that's what I see about this totem pole. They say there's 4 symbol systems we have as human beings. The first symbol system is how we relate to this Mother Earth. Mathematics. How we relate to one another. That's through language, spoken and unspoken. How do we relate to the unknown? How do we relate to the spiritual dimension of life? It's through the arts, the living arts. This is a manifestation of the living communication with the Spirit. Of the Spirit. And within that sacred pole are every form of prophecy, every form of representation of all the holy dimensions of who we are as human beings. And that, when you come there, and you put your hands there, you put your prayers there, to send this along this journey as we make this spiritual journey to these different places, your prayers will all be with us. Not just your prayers, because today, there's a few of us here, we are the spiritual representatives that all that have gone before us, all of them gone before us, every one of us. Just think how many people that is. A lot of people. They're all here. You can feel them.
Yes.
You can see them. And finally I want to say this, that our prophecies are very clear. There is no power on heaven or earth that will stop us from manifesting everywhere on Mother Earth and restoring the sacred, the understanding, first of all, we are all one human family. We're related to the mineral, the plant, the animal, the human.
Yes.
And that we will together carry on for our future generations, and there is no power in this material world to stop us. There will be victory. We have to remember that.